Aurelio, can you tell us what drew you to the field of social work?
Sure. In 2014, after I had retired serving 26 years of honorable service, in 2014, I decided to volunteer at a homeless shelter for veterans. And it was within the first week is when I realized, oh my goodness, this is what I want to do. I want to serve other veterans. I want to help other veterans. And that kind of started my journey towards social work. 2014. So 2015 is when I would enroll in the master's program at Azusa Pacific University.
And you had some other experience before you came in the program? You've done a couple other things?
Yeah, I was initially, when I got out of the military in 2008, when I retired, I was a federal law enforcement officer down at the border. I was also a high school teacher for a bit. But when I started volunteering at the homeless shelter for veterans, that was really my aha moment when I realized this is really true to my heart. This is serving my fellow veterans and my community really became my focus.
Right. So how did you handle a transition from being in a position of leadership in the military to then suddenly becoming a full-time student in the MSW program? How was that?
So I embraced that learning experience. And when you're in a learning mode, you have to really be humble. And you allow yourself to be humble and know that you don't know, and allow yourself the opportunity to take on. I was blessed to have found Azusa Pacific University. The professors there were magnificent in how they delivered, their passion in what they gave, and I just soaked it all up. It was very easy to put myself in that mindset of being an intern, being a student again, and wanting to learn. And I'm very much of that mind where a good leader first makes a good follower. And when you're a good follower, you allow yourself that opportunity to learn from others, whether it be your fellow students and your professors. So yes, I embraced that student role.
What advice would you give for other veterans considering social work as a career, or even just considering going back to school at all?
Sure. So when I first started the master's program, I was 52 years old. And it never even crossed my mind that I was too old. Never even crossed my mind. I saw a challenge. I saw an opportunity. I saw just an open field of potential. And so this was a part of that process. And so I would tell my fellow veterans that social work to me is about service to community. And if you think about that, in the military, it's service to country. So it's an easy transition for me, and I think it would be an easy transition for any veteran to have transition from a service to country to service to community as a social worker, and get that feeling of a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of purpose as a social worker.
Okay, thank you. So you're working now as a clinical therapist.
Yes, ma'am.
With Riverside County. Can you tell us a little bit about that role and how you're able to integrate your military experience?
Sure. So my title, I am a clinical therapist. My title is a Veteran Services Liaison. So I always like to introduce myself to folks that I'm presenting to as I'm your favorite Veteran Services Liaison. And I can qualify that because there's no one else doing what I do. I'm the only veteran who's also a clinical therapist, who also goes out in the field and engages veterans, homeless veterans, veterans at risk of being homeless. I go to them, build a trust, build a rapport, build a relationship with them. And if they need and want mental health services, I'm there. So usually when I meet the veterans for the first time, the discussion is all about the military experience, and that just lays the foundation of trust. I've deployed on 9 occasions. I did 26 years in the military. Retired as a Navy senior chief. When they know that I retired as an E8 Navy senior chief, they know that there's that experience, and there's almost like an instant bond, a connection that we have based on that military experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what do you like most about being a social worker?
What I like most about being a social worker is the breadth of influence that you have, both from a macro perspective, policies, procedures, and things like that, to a micro perspective down at the individual level. And I get a little taste of both of them. When I first started my master's program, I thought I just wanted to be a clinician. I wanted to work one-on-one with veterans and help them. And I soon realized that that's great, and you can do positive things like that, but it also takes a macro perspective. You can do policy. You can get involved in policy that eventually will affect at the micro level. So I got my feet in both places, both macro stuff that I do, working with the VA Loma Linda, working with the various committees throughout the Riverside County. But I also have my veterans, my veterans that I see regularly once a week. So it's the social work field. I like that you take a broader perspective on what's helpful for the veteran, not just individual therapy. I do a lot of case management. A lot of times, oftentimes when they're homeless, they don't have ID cards. They're not sure where they're going to eat and where they're going to sleep. And when they're in that mode, when their basic needs are not being met, oftentimes they're not ready for therapy. They're not ready for, how does that make you feel, right? So I do a lot of case management, and in social work capacity, it allows for that. And I've gone to the DMV with my clients. I've gone personally to the back to talk to the supervisor, to advocate for my clients. I've gone to DPSS. I've gone to a lot of places, and that's what social workers do. They advocate for the clients. It's almost I love it. I love it because you're only limited by your own imagination on how to help your clients, as opposed to other specialties. You're kind of locked in to that. And as a social worker, you're allowed to pull over, get out of the car, and take care of business. And that's, I love it. It's very much the military mindset. I kind of equate that adapt and overcome philosophy when you're helping your clients.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing your experience with us. And we're proud you're an APU alum, and it's rewarding for us to see you serving your community and the passion you have as a social worker and be able to link both your military experience and your social work training. So
thank you, Karen. Thank you. I feel blessed, without a doubt.